Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mobile Home Mondays. Another great Monday, another great Monday. As you guys already know, I'm going to take 2 seconds just to tag you guys, let you guys know that we are live inside of our group so everybody can get an opportunity to join in because tonight is going to be awesome as always. We have a very special guest. Let me just refresh this, tag you all, and let's get into boom. Awesome. All right. So we again, welcome to Mobile Home Mondays. You already know every single Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm coming here, your host, Jasmine Gittens, just to bring you guys strategies, tips, and information that you can take and implement into your business as a mobile home investor. And tonight is just another opportunity for you guys to grow. I'm so excited because tonight's going to be really an opportunity for us all to learn together. I'm going to be asking some questions from where I stand, looking to grow as a mobile home investor. And I want you guys, as you're funneling in, to leave comments. If you have any questions for us to ask our guest tonight, make sure you leave them in the comments. And if we have time at the end, we'll answer some. And I'm sure that our guests will be happy to answer them with and for us. Okay, so make sure you leave those in the comments. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our guest that we have this evening, which again, I'm super excited, very, very experienced mobile home investor, investing in mobile home parks, and even creating funds for mobile home parks. So I want to introduce you guys to Bradley Reimer with Haven Capital Ventures. I'm going to just get him in here.
Hi everybody. Hi,
How
Jasmine.
are
Thank you so
you?
much. This is great. It's
Yes, I'm
fantastic. Thank
so
you so
so
much.
excited. Absolutely, absolutely. We thank you. Look, we're going to be digging and picking your brain tonight because you have so much
Please
experience and
do. Please
knowledge,
do.
and and we want to get in there and see what's going on. So
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
us, Brad, just give us kind of a background of how you got into the mobile home space, where you are now, and let's get into it.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, I've been in real estate for 27 years, and over that time, I've learned a lot about all the different aspects, call it the four and five food groups of commercial real estate. I was introduced to mobile home communities. I was actually sought out by one of the gurus, top five portfolios in the country,
Oh
and
wow.
they sought me out, and I was in Denver at the time. I became the CFO, went and I was driving back and forth for about 3 years, 4 years to the western slope of Colorado, 4 hours one way.
Ooh.
And yeah, and I went there. I had a house over there and literally was the CFO and would go back to Denver, back and forth. And I mean, honestly, like one a fundamental thing of organizing your day was 4 hour drive. I would put together my week, and when I got there, I had my week together, and then I had a staff that was there and put my entire thing into place. But that was my introduction to mobile home communities. I've always been in a form of commercial real estate. Mobile home communities were one of are still one of the most lucrative low housing or low income affordable housing efforts
Yeah.
today.
Yes, I love that. And I think something that you touched on really is like the affordable housing and how lucrative it is. Because a lot of people we speak with, of course, investors are more geared toward traditional houses and things of that nature. So sometimes, they don't know the benefits and the profit margins and such of mobile homes. Have you found that just for yourself, it being in multiple areas of commercial, that mobile homes does have a significant margins compared to other asset classes?
Well, I don't think that the affordable housing sector is truly the one that actually pinpoints what is the most profitable. What I have
Mm,
found in the recent conference, and I told you about, you and I missed a video presentation this past week because I was at a family office conference, and
yes.
during that FOC conference, they talked about impact funding. Impact funding actually pinpoints and it facilitates things like affordable housing. What is actually veterans? What's helping people versus you know building other profitable ventures up. And
Right.
we talked to a bunch of groups and a bunch of investors, and that was something that I was inspired by, because it's the impact funding versus actually profitable funding. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love that. Now, when you got into to this space of, mobile homes, getting into parks, because I now, since you guys started from us having our conversation, you own, hundreds of lots and have been able to build and create this fund. So kind of where have you, gone since first starting in the mobile home space?
Yeah, I mean, since the mobile home space. So when I left as the CFO, we had the fifth largest portfolio in the country. When I
Mm,
left that company, I kind of ventured off on my own and started an advisory firm, which I think one of the reasons you and I started talking was I'm helping investors on the smaller end, right?
right.
The call it 500,000 to 1.5 million try to venture into this sector. A lot of people do not have that knowledge. What I wanted to do with Cloverleaf Capital Group was start something that people could take my knowledge from, doing the garage up to the bigger funding, and take that knowledge and actually build the same thing. And that was my whole innovation. That was my whole jump into the group. From there, a group reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want to start a fund. We want to do something similar to what you came from. Would you be interested?" And of course, I mean, what was I doing? I was kind of like, I was consulting and I was offering people that knowledge. And I said, of course, I would do this.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's simple to me to like regurgitate all the stuff I learned,
right.
and like kind of spit off to somebody. They give me a community in New York. They give me a community in Kansas, Idaho, something like that. I can tell them, look for this, and that's it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So speaking of, obviously our group is tailored toward newer investors, investors who are getting into this space. They're investing in a few individual homes, but
Right.
oftentimes a lot of the goal really is to like transition to parks or larger projects within the mobile home space. So, in terms of how someone could potentially transition from investing in these onesie twosies to
Mhm.
to a park or a larger portfolio like have or any of the people who you have consulted.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's very simple. A lot of people that I talk to with Cloverleaf as a consultant, they approached me about a 12 unit or a 14 unit, right?
Hmm.
And so, like a 14 unit, I always explain this as mobile home communities are like a two-dimensional apartment building.
Hmm.
So each lot is like an apartment, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so, so I look at it, like I look at it as, and this is one of the phrases that I have in all my pitch materials. But I mean, literally, a mobile home community is a two-dimensional apartment building.
Hmm.
And I mean, working into one that is 12 units, 14 units, it might be a start of your adventure into mobile home communities. But
Hmm.
I will tell you that that start is like a 50% adventure. You'll work your way into the next one
Yeah.
because of refinancing, even in bad markets like today. I was just listening in on Squawk Box on CNBC, and they
Hmm.
were saying that the 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 rates may come down in 2024,
Right.
may come down, but that means like that's July, right? That doesn't mean that we're going to see any relief, and we're in an election year. I mean, at the end of the day, we're at the end of the day, and we're looking at troubles in all types of atmospheres when it comes to economy and banking atmosphere. And
Hmm.
so, with mobile home communities, they don't lose their value because everybody needs low income housing.
Right.
And it's transition. It's no longer called a trailer park. Trailer park is a negative stigma,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And a part of your channel, and I've watched several of your episodes, it's getting rid of that stigma. Like
Right.
it's there's almost at some point in time there the housing is better than what's actually stick built. I
Right.
mean, these homes come from a manufacturing facility that's always under a roof, and it never touches the elements. Whereas the stick-built homes, somewhere in like Georgia or Alabama, they're exposed to the elements. So
Right.
these homes leave a manufacturing facility in better construction, and,
Mhm.
it's a fraction of the cost. You
Yep.
know,
Yep. No, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. I really love that, and I think it is something that that we strive to educate people on that these are deserving families, hardworking families that we're working with, and if we look at these new like 2023 homes, these homes are
no
beautiful,
thanks, no thanks, no thanks.
right?
I'm in DC. No thanks.
These homes are beautiful though, like
Yeah,
so
I know.
sometimes what you may think of, is not necessarily what it is once you get into this space. But
Exactly.
let's say, okay, I bought some, I'm like, okay, I'm interested in potentially kind of getting into mobile home parks. And I love how you put it like very simply, how it's like a 2D, like two-dimensional like apartment building.
Yeah.
Um, would you say that kind of starting out with those smaller, because sometimes I always found it challenging with looking at like those 12 to like, 15 units versus, the 100 plus unit parks, where it just seemed like the numbers are not as, I don't know, attractive, I don't know. But a little bit harder to, I guess, make sense. So
Okay.
do
Well,
you find that those, the values in the smaller units?
sure, sure. I mean, the one thing that I say from the beginning of the day, from looking at all commercial real estate, but even it focused on this, is that when you're looking at a smaller community, one vacancy means so much more than if you're looking at a bigger one. A
Mhm.
12 versus a 20,
Mhm.
right? A 20 versus a 60. If one vacancy happens in a 12, then it affects your annual income.
Right, right, right.
So, but in mobile home communities, it costs so much for somebody to leave that community to go somewhere else.
Mm.
And then I would challenge anybody leaving a mobile home community to somewhere else that's low income rated, right? Low
Right.
income rated that's better because I mean you have a lawn, you have neighbors that care about what you're doing, and most times, no matter if it's small or big, I mean, there's the manager should care too.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, what's happening where we're coming in and buying these communities, we're not just buying them to make more money. We're buying them to improve what we talk to the municipalities, and they want us to boost, infrastructure,
Right.
what's coming in, like anything, right? And so, I mean, at the end of the day, this place is one. If they rent that, it's one. It's something that can boost not only what's around them, but it's also a better environment overall.
Mhm, mhm. I love that. I love that. Now, like when you're looking at the homes, are there or the parks rather, I guess I would ask like what are some things that you are looking for to say, whether this may be a good park to invest in or not. And maybe from a geographical standpoint, like are there any things you're looking for, geographically or demographically, or as well as like maybe just the park itself.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, demographics don't matter. I
Mhm.
mean, it all means what somebody wants to rent
Right.
and at the rate that they need in their lifetime.
Mhm.
And that's period. That's it.
Right.
I think the employment, the proximity to the employment, and I think also just the comfort of where the school is. because
Mm,
many families want to be in the proximity of the schools that make the most sense for their families, and that's
okay,
it. That's
okay.
it. That's literally it. I
Gotcha,
mean,
gotcha. So you're close to some jobs and you're close, to the
yeah,
the core
yeah.
jobs and you're close to the school. Those are some key factors.
I think I think that rounds it out. I mean, there's nothing more that's needed to be said.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when you think of, employment, I mean, are there any, like, when you're looking to say, like, this is the unemployment rate, or, what the core jobs are in that particular market? Are there anything that kind of stands out to you or that you're looking for, or just that there is, some decent employment rates in that market?
Yeah, I think the big thing is like commodity based. So a lot of people would look at what I'm about to say as being, a downturn antagonist or something like
Mhm.
that. But you want to drive away from the commodity driven mobile home communities. So, petroleum, coal, anything that's like actually aggregate baited, or yeah, aggregate baited is probably the best way to describe it. But
Okay.
it's driven by employment's driven by mines
Mm.
or oil fields or something like that. But in today's environment, we have with all that's going on in the economy, we have a big influx, and so the government's pushing a lot of money into the commodity-based environment. So
Mm.
Western Texas, Southern Arizona, Southern New Mexico, things like that, where people have avoided. There's good values there because a lot of the sellers have been kind of driven to exhaustion.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so, they're sitting there. They're like they had these prices 3 years ago, and they keep working them down, working them down. Well, now the government has backing on all the commodities that all these RV parks, these mobile home communities are sitting there, waiting for occupancy.
Mm.
So, watching the market is really strong. But at the end of the day, like first of all, occupancy is driven by your tenant's ability to pay the rent.
Right.
If they don't have a job, they can't pay the rent, and then you have to start doing all these different mechanisms to make sure that your community is making money, and you have to kind of extend rent delinquencies, stuff like that.
Right,
But
right.
if you're able to find yourself in an environment where they're all coming in, renting consistent income, and then also giving them the ability, and then also boosting yourself the capability to improve the community itself through cash flow, it benefits everyone.
Yeah, yeah. So generally speaking, would you say, like, looking at mobile homes that already have a decent occupancy is, I mean, is important?
Yeah, I think it is. There's many opportunities where there's just been tired management.
Right.
And I think your biggest opportunity to make cash flow, and it's more exit cash flow, but your biggest opportunity is those that they've just been mismanaged, tired
Yeah.
managers, tired owners that they got to know the tenants and they did not raise rents, but that's not it. You like
Right.
they let leaks happen. They let the infrastructure go away, and the tenants just they see it like we see it around us. No
Yeah.
matter if if we own a house in an HOA or if we're in an apartment building. I mean, we see it. If the manager's bad, we'll take advantage of it. You
Right.
know, you
Right.
know.
Right. How do you find these opportunities? How do we find these opportunities?
The
Especially,
opportunities are
I know
abundant.
you guys are everywhere. So,
Yeah, the opportunities are abundant. I mean, I would tell you that there are several ways to find opportunities, big or small.
mhm,
Whether it's 5 units or up to 50. Go
mhm,
to Facebook. Look in
mhm.
your area. I wish I could tell you a pinpoint specific one on the forums, but type in mobile home and then type in your area, type in GA, type in FL, and you'll find a forum that's selling mobile home communities or individual mobile homes.
Right. Right, right, right. Yeah, we definitely like utilize Facebook. I mean, Facebook is a great resource. We use it certainly for the individual mobile homes in both
I found
communities.
you.
Yeah, right? Exactly, exactly. No, so I mean, I think that's great, and when we're looking at the parks, like I said, more so from a standpoint of inspecting, I guess, are there any like key things that should be looked at or paid attention to in terms of investable or not?
Yeah, 1000%. I'll tell you one thing that a lot of people don't like to say, but it's very pinpoint. Technology has given us a very, very easy way to see into things like expenses.
Right.
Okay. And when you zoom in on things like Google and do an aerial, and a lot of GIS capabilities, when you dial into a county where you're looking,
Yes.
they'll be able to pinpoint and look into a lot. If there is, and this is the number one expense in mobile home communities, is utilities. Okay. And
Yes.
then if you bifurcate between that, it is water and sewer.
Uh,
If it is city or private water and sewer, I will tell you right now, if you zoom in on an aerial and you see a lot of green over here and then brown over here, that means there's a leak right here.
oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm telling
What?
you right now, because it is so pinpoint to
Wow.
date, it's every 6 months now they pinpoint that in, right? That is the number one expense on your operating expenses. And
Wow.
if you can spot a leak and fix that, now you have to watch. If you're sitting on galvanized, right, and you transition to copper,
Right.
it's still gonna create another leak. But that's the one thing. You can cut your expenses by utilities, water, sewer, in half. In half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
say your 12 unit community
Yeah.
is spitting out, call it, I think in a 12 unit should probably be around 1,000, right, per year.
Mhm.
Okay, you can cut that in half
What?
just by spotting your leaks.
Wow. Wow.
And
I know that.
you could bring in a plumber by putting their sign in front of your community if there's enough traffic. By looking at the traffic map, you could put their sign in front and never pay for it.
I love it. I love it. That's a big key, guys. So if you didn't hear that, make sure you watch on the replay and play that part again because that is a
Yeah,
huge, huge, huge
and
tip.
talk to Jasmine because I'll give you the same knowledge again through Jasmine.
Yes, yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. So, okay, a lot of our investors, they're in becoming basically becoming like six-figure earners with
Yep.
utilizing mobile home investing, again, more from the onesies and twosies. So as far as maybe any tips on strategies, because I know you mentioned like from the 500,000 up. So for people who are trying to get to that point so that they can be qualified or available to
Mhm.
get access to other things as far as parks are concerned with you, what would you say? Do you have any strategies or tips on how to kind of increase income as a newer investor?
I mean, I think it's all about patience, really,
Mhm,
at the end of the day. If you take your time, you're not gonna. I've heard this, and many of us have heard this as investors and owners of real estate. It's all about singles. A lot of people try to, you know, hit the grand slam right out of the gates, looking at the numbers. I think it's there. I honestly, at the end of the day, do singles, 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 and then eventually you're gonna have a good game.
mhm,
That's it.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
really it. I mean, there's no much more advice than that. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're humble and you walk your way in,
yeah,
then you're gonna be a better star.
yeah. Yeah. Now, if let's say, because I think one of the biggest concerns is okay, what if I do find this opportunity? But maybe I don't really have that much capital. Like, are there opportunities for me to find other investors or funding opportunities for parks?
Yeah, there is. I mean, like for example, Haven Capital, right? I come from a previous group that had 16 funds,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate my entire time with them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we syndicated, yeah, that group syndicated, and then now, like a group with the new group, Haven Fund Two, we're syndicating we're raising a fund to invest in these, and it's called passive income, right?
Mm,
The best part, which a lot of people and I talked a lot about it in Florida at the family office conference, but it's if you want to learn, it's not just straight passive income.
mm-hmm.
You're sitting there getting the financial reports and in the conference calls per quarter, listening to what everybody's doing.
Mm,
And if you peel off and want to, from the returns that you get throughout the 1, 2, 3, 5 years, if you peel off and do your own thing, you just learned with passive income
oh, wow.
on something that you want to do. And it happened with a lot of our investors in the previous funds. They didn't want to be part of the many. They said, hey, this was great in the first two times. Now I just want to be 50-50. And a lot of private equity firms, a lot of family offices want to do joint venture. So
Mm-hmm.
the joint venture firms get obviously the most of it, but they're involved. Passive versus joint venture is a
Right.
big difference, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's up to what you want to do with your money and how involved you want to be.
Yep.
Passive investment, making 8 to 10 to 12%. I mean, that's not bad today, and it's not going
Yeah.
to be bad for 5 years,
Yep.
to be honest.
No, I
And I mean, the joint venture atmosphere where I have to call you, hey, I'm making this decision. Are you in? I can't get a hold of you. I can't get a hold of you. I can't get a hold of you. I can't. Versus somebody that's been doing this for a long time,
right.
380 communities, 30,000 lots. I
Oh,
trust this guy. I just want to make 8 to 10%,
yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if somebody was, interested, they have like got some money, and I just want to like just invest it with you guys, they would just head up like how would someone, get in, do that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you posted, I see at the bottom of the screen, the Haven Capital Ventures website. I mean,
Yes.
they can jump in. They can go to one of the links. I mean, obviously, go to the pitch deck, look at all the stuff I put together, and just see what. Really, it's an invitation to see what can happen as a passive investor.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
not, call me separately or call you, Jasmine, and let's talk about joint ventures into a community or a series of communities, and then we'll figure that out as a partner.
I love it. I love it. Now, when we chatted on the phone, you had mentioned something, and I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was, I thought it may be able to help some of our members here in the group. You were sharing that, I asked you what will be valuable as a park owner. What is some value that
Yeah.
someone
Yeah,
can
this is the part I
bring,
was looking forward to.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you shared a couple of things, you shared a couple of tips. One being, I think you said like filling the lots, right? So I just want to know, like, how could someone bring value to you or to other park owners?
Sure, sure. I mean, one of the things is everybody's a lot of sellers have gotten into the game and they understand the model that
Yes,
happened 10 years ago.
yes,
I mean, it started with Warren Buffett, Sam Zell, RIP. But
yes, yes.
those guys, that model is been exposed, and so
Hmm.
we were doing it 8 years ago now.
Right.
And so you bring a home into a lot, right? Because it's very difficult. It was very difficult for a long time to bring somebody who owns their home into your lot, which is the
Hmm.
primary focus. Okay, you only want you only want lot rent. You
Right.
don't want to take care of the home. You don't want to take care of all that. But
Right.
the best way to fill your community is bring a home in, new or used.
Mhm.
Okay. And so bringing those homes in and separating and having a total home rent plus lot rent is
Mhm.
the best way to fill your community. But at the end of the day, I've been talking to a lot of groups of the past probably 3 weeks. It's not about it's not about increasing the rents. And one of the negative stigmas that continue with trailer, they call them trailer parks, but they're no longer that. Bad
Right.
managers operate trailer parks. Good
Absolutely.
managers operate communities.
Yes.
Okay. But community managers can skew what happens in the prosperity of their community by inflating rents, make the surrounding environment more efficient with
Mhm.
expenses,
Mhm.
better contracts with waste, and just a better environment where everybody cares what's going on around them. After that, you might be able to increase your rents, but that's not the thing.
Mhm.
The number one thing that you do when you walk into a community is look at the expenses. I told you that when I look at aerials with technology today, I can zoom in and see where there's leaks.
Right.
If you can reduce your expenses, your operating expenses just on community expenses down 15%. 15%. You can
Wow.
go from 55% expense to income ratio down to 30
Wow.
with
Wow.
with 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 the right approach and the
Yeah.
right contractors, right?
Yeah.
That's a big jump, but I mean, think about if you're talking about 12 lots versus 50,
Right.
right? So, I mean,
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest thing. And then there's a lot of communities in the country. There's a lot of them that have been turned over. But there's a lot of communities in the country today that have been zoned and permitted for expansion, and
Mm.
there's no shortage of low income housing.
Wow.
And
Right.
we are about to transition. And I was just listening today on Squawk Box on CNBC that we're in for another 2 years of hell.
I know. I'm hearing the same.
So,
Oh,
uh,
gee. So it's like we have to, and even though you say, "Huh," it's like although there's a lot of opportunity to to make impact, like you shared. So I think
mhm.
we have to just be look for those opportunities. Really look for those
Right,
opportunities.
right. And I think the last thing to kind of send everybody off with is that,
Yes.
there's it's all about the numbers too. You're
Mhm.
going to have one of these opportunities. Be careful with people out there. A lot of people have caught wind of the MHC side, and I say MHC, mobile home, manufactured home community. C
Yes.
is the community, right?
Yeah.
Not park, definitely not trailer park.
Yes.
But mobile home community or manufactured home community, the
Right.
one thing is there's people out there that tie these things up, and those are the wholesalers or the bird dogs or the finders, all type of stuff. If they don't know what they're doing, you're buying a contract on something that they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
That's number one. Be careful. I think the second thing is there's a lot out there that has not been transacted.
Mm.
The websites say that there are around 52,000 communities left in the country. The top of them are all Class A, and nobody's ever going to buy those at four caps.
Right.
And then the bottom is all called 5 to 2 lot. You don't want to buy those either.
Right.
And then you have that kind of tranche in between, and then half of that has been cut off because it's already been transacted.
Right.
So then you have this middle grab that's like 13,000 communities around the country.
Mhm.
That's your pinpoint, and you got
Mhm.
to call. You got to be patient. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, we speak about this a lot in even when you're just doing individuals, just like, following up and being patient and, things of that nature. But I think it's probably even more, I mean, it is even more important to understand on these larger projects. Of course, so I think building relationships is key. And like you said, like being patient, following up. Would you recommend, just kind of based off of what you shared in terms of like availability, would you recommend someone who is getting started to focus in their market? Like, I'm here in North Carolina. Would it make sense more so to kind of focus in North Carolina, or just be open to, wherever opportunity may come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's silly to assume that North Carolina investing in Las Vegas
Mm-hmm.
is tough. I
Right.
think that would be one of those grand slams I was saying.
Mm,
And then plus you're investing in that money, the money that's hard earned, and trying to buy this community that you like are just jumping in. You want
mhm,
that cash flow. So I think stay something within 3 to 6 hours of
mhm,
drivable
mhm.
distance, and then that's it on your first one.
Yeah,
Or do a passive investment where you can learn through the financial
absolutely.
statements. I mean, one of the best things about technology, and I mentioned that at the beginning, is that you are jumping in a new environment. When I first started, we didn't have this type of technology.
Right.
Now, I mean, you could jump in and you could walk alongside me as an investor. And when I'm walking through and I'm talking about each lot, this one was this one was this. It's up to you. But I
Mhm.
think if you want hands-on, keep it within 3 hours,
Yeah, I love it. I love
for
it.
sure.
That's fantastic, guys. So you already heard it first here from Brad. If you guys want to be more active, staying within your area, but you also have the opportunity to not just be passive, but actually be learning alongside someone like himself who literally has done this time and time, has the experience already. We can learn from your bumps and bruises
Yeah, yeah.
along the
Take
way.
take 'em. They're all over here.
And we could just walk through, right? And also use that as a learning opportunity to, if makes sense to branch off, or you just might find that this is really it, because a lot of times, sometimes people realize more often than not that they really just want those returns. It's not really necessarily the
Right.
hard hustle and bustle that they really want. It's really just those returns. So that's what Haven Capital Ventures offers. So if you guys have any interest on learning about those opportunities, as Brad shared, head on over. The link is right here. I'll make sure to also put it in the description. Havencapitalventures.com.
Yeah.
Brad,
And then
we
also,
yes,
Jasmine,
yes,
thank you again. You and I found each other organically,
yes,
and that was fantastic. I think the other part is if somebody wants to find out about mobile home communities and learn about these things for free, and just like learn about operations or the tips and tricks, post a question to Jasmine. I'll jump on. I'll come with you.
love it.
Let's go. Let's
I
go.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So much value. Absolutely so much value. We have people saying great information. Thank you so much. She's like, will this be recorded? I want to watch later. Yes, it will. That
It
usually
will.
is what
It will.
happens. Veronica says, "Good evening, good evening, good evening." So it will be recorded and posted into the group, because that's what happens most often. You guys, a ton of you all flood in after the live and watch the replay. So it
Yes,
will be
please, and
available.
please contact Jasmine.
Yes,
Let's have a forum. Let's have some question answers. Let's
yes,
go
that would
Q&A.
be awesome. That would be awesome, Brad. I want to thank you so much for your
Yes,
time, for the
thank you.
valuable
Thank
information
you
that you
more.
provided, and also just for what you do in the community, and making such a great impact. So, so again, thank you. Veronica says great information. Thank you.
Mhm. Thanks,
Thank you,
Veronica.
Brad. Yeah, so guys, make sure you tune in, you tap in, you watch this. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments underneath this video. Either Brad or I will hop in every now and then try to answer those. And then again, if you have any interest, head over to havencapitalventures.com and learn how you can be a part of Brad's organization and fund. So Brad, thank you so much again. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jasmine. I'm glad we
Absolutely.
connected, and this has
Yes.
been great. Call me anytime.
Yes, yes, absolutely, Brad. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Happy Mobile
Good
Home
night,
Monday.
everybody. Happy holidays.
Same to you.